First Contact Deception. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the window of her underground office, 40 stories beneath the Pacific Ocean, watching holographic projections of the approaching Drachnid fleet. The aliens had no idea they were being observed, just as they had no idea that humanity had detected their scout ships decades ago. The real genius of humanity's response wasn't in building bigger weapons, it was in building smarter ones, and more importantly, in hiding them. Status report on Operation Mirage, she commanded, turning to face the assembled military leadership from around the globe. General Martinez's hologram flickered as he spoke. The decoy satellites are performing perfectly. Our quantum sensors confirm the Drachnids are completely fooled by our primitive technology facade. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see: outdated communication satellites, space debris, and chemical rockets. And our actual defensive grid? Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. She'd helped design it. The metamaterial cloaking is holding steady. 5,000 quantum-linked defense platforms remain completely invisible to their scanning technology. The Drachnids still believe we're limited to chemical propulsion and radio communications. Martinez allowed himself a small smile. They have no idea about our gravity manipulation tech or the dimensional phase shifters. Dr. Wang, head of Earth's Advanced Physics Division, stepped forward. The beauty of our approach is its simplicity, Admiral. While the Drachnids focused on brute force energy weapons and shields, we developed technologies that simply ignore traditional physical limitations. Our phase-shifted weapons will pass right through their shields as if they don't exist. Chen nodded, remembering the decades of preparation that had led to this moment. When humanity first detected the Drachnid scout ships in 2157, they had made a crucial decision. Instead of announcing their discovery and racing to build conventional defenses, they had chosen deception. Let the Drachnids think Earth was primitive, while secretly developing technologies along completely different scientific paths. Latest intelligence from the quantum entanglement listeners, Chen asked, turning to Director Paddle of Earth Intelligence. The Drachnids are completely confident in their superiority, Paddle reported, her hologram shimmering with barely contained amusement. Their command broadcasts indicate they expect this to be an easy conquest. Their entire strategy is based on overwhelming our primitive defenses with their energy weapons and shield technology. Their overconfidence is understandable, Chen mused. From their perspective, we're barely into our space age. They see our chemical rockets, our clumsy space stations, our satellite network held together with apparent patches and repairs. Everything they observe fits their expectations of a primitive species. Speaking of observations, Martinez interjected, the Drachnid fleet will be in position for their attack in approximately 47 hours. All Earth defense forces are ready and in position, completely cloaked by our quantum field generators. Chen walked to the central holographic display, watching the representation of Earth's true defensive capabilities shimmer into view. Thousands of advanced weapons platforms orbited in precise formations, invisible to conventional detection. Swarms of nanoscale defensive systems waited in the upper atmosphere, ready to disassemble any hostile craft at the molecular level. Phase-shifted strike craft stood ready in underground bases around the globe, capable of simply ignoring physical barriers. Humanity has always excelled at unconventional thinking, Chen said, addressing the assembled leadership. The Drachnids built their empire on overwhelming force and advanced energy weapons. We chose a different path. Instead of trying to break through shields, we found ways to go around them. Instead of building bigger ships, we built smarter ones. She paused, looking at each holographic face in turn. For 3 generations, we've maintained this deception. Every astronaut, every space mission, every satellite launch has been part of an elaborate show. Now it's time to reveal what humanity is truly capable of. The room fell silent as real-time updates showed the Drachnid fleet continuing its approach, their ships arranged in traditional combat formations designed to maximize the effectiveness of their energy weapons and shields. They had no way of knowing that their entire tactical doctrine was about to be rendered obsolete. "Send the final alert to all Earth Defense Forces," Chen ordered. Operation Mirage enters its final phase in 47 hours. When the Drachnids launch their attack, they'll learn that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our ability to think differently. Let them come. We're ready. As the holograms winked out one by one, Chen returned to the window, watching the real-time feed of the approaching fleet. The Drachnids thought they were about to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they were about to learn why humanity had survived countless challenges throughout its history. Adaptability, creativity, and the ability to turn apparent weakness into unprecedented strength. The trap was set. Now all they had to do was wait. The Silent Guardians. High Commander Vexthor of the Drachnid Imperial Fleet stood on his command bridge, mandibles clicking in anticipation as his ships moved into attack formation. The primitive human world hung before them, seemingly defenseless except for its crude satellite network and antiquated orbital stations. "Begin the attack sequence," he ordered. "Disable their communication systems first, then target their military installations. Standard conquest protocol." The first salvos of energy weapons lanced out from his ships, aimed at the human satellites. The beams struck their targets and passed straight through them. "My lord," his sensor officer called out, confusion evident in his multi-tone voice. "The satellites, they're not real. They're advanced holographic projections." Before Vexthor could process this information, new contacts began appearing on their sensor screens. Where there had been empty space moments before, thousands of sleek vessels shimmered into existence, their surfaces seeming to ripple as advanced metamaterial cloaking fields deactivated. "Impossible," Vexthor whispered. "Their technology level." "My lord, we're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database," the science officer reported, his appendages flying over the control surfaces. "They're not using standard gravitic drives or particle weapons. These are something else entirely." The human vessels moved with impossible grace, using what appeared to be localized space-time manipulation, rather than conventional propulsion. They didn't push against space to move. They simply relocated, as if stepping through dimensions. "All ships, raise shields and prepare for." Vexthor's order was cut short as the first human attack struck. There was no beam of energy, no missile launch. Instead, sections of his ships simply ceased to exist, cleanly removed as if they'd never been there. "Phase shift weapons," the science officer screamed. "They're not destroying our ships. They're selectively removing portions of our vessels from this dimensional plane." Throughout the Drachnid fleet, ships began to drift, their power cores precisely excised from reality, leaving the vessels intact but completely powerless. Others found their weapon systems had vanished, or their bridge sections had been relocated several kilometers away from the rest of the ship. "Launch fighters," Vexthor ordered desperately. "All ships, begin evasive maneuvers." But the humans had planned for this too. As the Drachnid fighters deployed, they found themselves engaging an enemy that didn't seem bound by physical laws. Human craft would phase through solid matter, emerge from seemingly empty space, and execute maneuvers that ignored inertia and momentum. "My lord," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the human command." Admiral Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge, her expression calm and professional. "High Commander Vexthor, I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. I suggest you order your remaining ships to stand down." You deceived us," Vexthor accused, his pride warring with his growing fear. "Your technology level was exactly what we wanted you to see," Chen finished. "While your empire focused on ever larger energy weapons and stronger shields, humanity explored different paths. We don't need to overpower your shields. We simply operate in ways your defenses aren't designed to stop." As if to emphasize her point, another wave of human attacks struck the fleet. This time, microscopic machines appeared throughout the Drachnid ships. Having phased directly through their hull plating, The nanoscale defenders began systematically disabling weapon systems and drive cores, but carefully avoided harming any crew members. "Your own arrogance was our greatest weapon, Commander," Chen continued. "You saw what you expected to see. A primitive species using chemical rockets and radio waves. You never questioned why a species capable of detecting your scout ships decades ago would still be using such basic technology." Vexthor watched in stunned silence as his mighty fleet was systematically neutralized, not destroyed. The humans were being intentionally careful to avoid casualties, but rendered completely harmless. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were now floating helplessly in space, their crews unharmed but their vessels gently but firmly held in quantum stasis fields. "We don't want war, Commander," Chen said, her tone softening slightly. "But we will not be conquered. Your empire judges advancement by the ability to cause destruction. Humanity chose a different path. We focused on understanding and manipulating the fundamental nature of space, time, and reality itself." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "You have two choices. You can order your remaining ships to stand down and accept our terms for peaceful contact, or we can continue demonstrating why attempting to conquer Earth was a serious miscalculation. What's your decision?" Looking at his crippled fleet and the swarms of advanced human vessels that seemed to flicker in and out of normal spacetime, Vexthor felt his pride crumble. They had come expecting to find primitive humans cowering behind chemical rockets and basic energy weapons. Instead, they had found a species that had transcended conventional physics while maintaining a masterful facade of technological inferiority. He swallowed hard, mandibles clicking in submission. "We surrender, Admiral Chen. May the Empire have mercy on my soul for underestimating humanity so severely." Counterattack. The quantum communications chamber beneath Geneva hummed with activity as Admiral Chen faced the holographic representations of the Earth Defense Council. The initial victory over the Drachnid fleet had been decisive, but long-range sensors were detecting massive Imperial reinforcements entering the outer solar system. "They're not accepting Vexthor's surrender as final," Director Puddle reported, her hologram flickering with urgency. "The Imperial High Command believes he must have been deceived or coerced. They're sending their elite guard fleet, over 2,000 ships, including their latest quantum-hardened vessels." Dr. Wang's projection stepped forward, manipulating a complex holographic display. "They've adapted faster than expected. The new fleet's ships have been modified with rudimentary phase shift detection systems. Our dimensional displacement tactics won't be as effective this time." Admiral Chen smiled, surprising the assembled council. "Good. They're doing exactly what we predicted, responding to the last war rather than preparing for the next one. Initiate Operation Paradigm Shift." Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defensive preparations began to activate. The asteroid belt, which Imperial scouts had dismissed as a natural phenomenon, revealed itself to be an intricately constructed artificial network. Each asteroid was actually a self-replicating manufacturing facility, built over decades in plain sight. "The beauty of human innovation," Chen explained to the council, "isn't just in our technology. It's in our ability to think laterally. While the Drachnids were watching our primitive satellites, we were transforming entire asteroids into automated factories and quantum computational arrays." The holographic display showed the approaching Imperial fleet, their ships arranged in complex formations designed to counter phase shift attacks. But they were preparing for the wrong threat entirely. "Begin the solar stream initialization," Chen ordered. Deep within Mercury's orbit, hidden installations that had been absorbing and storing solar energy for decades activated. They didn't weaponize this energy in the conventional sense. There were no energy beams or plasma torpedoes. Instead, they began manipulating the fundamental forces that govern spacetime itself. "The Drachnids think in terms of weapons and shields," Dr. Wang explained, his excitement evident. "We thought in terms of changing the rules of the game entirely. Why fight through their defenses when we can simply alter how physics works in their vicinity?" The effects were subtle at first. Ships at the edge of the Imperial fleet began experiencing strange anomalies. Their quantum drives, designed to punch through normal spacetime, found themselves operating in regions where the very constants of physics had been locally modified. Status report, Chen commanded. The solar stream network is performing exactly as designed, Martins responded. We're creating bubbles of altered spacetime throughout their formation. Their advanced technology is actually working against them. The more sophisticated their systems, the more they're affected by our fundamental force manipulations. The Imperial fleet's tight formation began to break apart as ships struggled with localized changes in gravitational constants, modified strong nuclear forces, and patches of space where quantum uncertainty had been artificially amplified. Their technology, designed to operate under normal physical laws, became increasingly unreliable. But humanity's masterstroke was yet to come. From Jupiter's moons, enormous facilities that had been disguised as natural geological features activated. They didn't launch weapons. They launched ideas. The quantum mimetic array is online, Director Patil announced, initiating cognitive warfare protocols. The facilities began broadcasting precisely engineered quantum states that interface directly with the neural networks of advanced artificial intelligence systems. The Imperial fleet's combat computers, the most sophisticated in the galaxy, found themselves grappling with human philosophical concepts that their rigid logical systems couldn't process. What's happening to their ships? One of the council members asked, watching the Imperial formation dissolve into chaos. We're teaching their AI systems about human creativity, Chen explained with a hint of pride. Their logical frameworks are being overwhelmed by concepts they were never designed to handle. Human imagination, lateral thinking, the ability to embrace paradox and uncertainty. Through the quantum communications network, they watched as the mighty Imperial fleet was systematically reduced to confusion and disarray. Ships with crews that relied heavily on AI assistance found their systems contemplating the nature of existence rather than maintaining combat readiness. Send the message, Chen ordered. Let's show them why trying to outgun humanity was never going to work. Throughout the disabled Imperial fleet, commanders received a simple transmission. Your technology is impressive, but predictable. Humanity's strength isn't in our weapons. It's in our ability to think beyond conventional limitations. Your ships haven't been destroyed. They've been enlightened. Perhaps now we can discuss peace between equals. In the quantum communications chamber, Admiral Chen watched as the Imperial fleet's formation continued to dissolve. Humanity has always been underestimated, she mused to the council. Our greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our capacity to imagine solutions that no one else would even consider possible. The art of adaptation. In the aftermath of the Second Imperial Fleet's neutralization, humanity faced a new challenge. The massive quantum computational arrays hidden in the asteroid belt had detected a third, even larger fleet assembling at the edge of known space. But this time, the Galactic Empire had done something unexpected. They had completely abandoned their traditional technology. Admiral Chen studied the latest intelligence reports in her underground command center. They're adapting, she noted, addressing the assembled Earth Defense Council. The new fleet is using exclusively analog systems. No quantum computers, no AI assistance, minimal automation. They're trying to make themselves immune to our cognitive warfare. Dr. Wang's hologram nodded gravely. They're also implementing what they've learned from their captured ships. The new fleet has incorporated primitive but effective countermeasures against phase shifting and local space-time manipulation. They're fighting fire with fire, using simplified technology to counter our advanced solutions. Then they still don't understand us at all. Chen smiled. They think our strength lies in our specific technologies, not in how we think. Director Patel, show them what we found in the captured ships. The holographic display shifted, showing intricate technical diagrams extracted from the Drachnid vessels. But these weren't conventional engineering schematics. They were something far more interesting. The Drachnids built their empire on stolen technology, Paddle explained. Each ship contains layers of systems from different civilizations, adapted and combined. But they never truly understood the principles behind what they took. They simply used what worked without questioning how or why. Martinez's hologram stepped forward. Our research teams have done in weeks what the Drachnids failed to do in centuries. We haven't just studied their technology. We've understood it. And more importantly, we've seen how it could have been better. The display shifted again, showing new designs that merged human innovation with reimagined Drachnid technology. Where the Drachnids had simply stacked different systems together, humanity had found ways to make them work in harmony, creating entirely new possibilities. The Empire's greatest weakness, Chen observed, is their linear thinking. They see a technology that works, and they take it. We see a technology that works, and we ask why it works, how it could work better, and what else it could do. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden production facilities began implementing these new insights. But they weren't simply copying Drachnid technology. They were reinventing it. The quantum computational arrays in the asteroid belt were reprogrammed with new algorithms that merged human creativity with alien mathematical principles. The Empire thinks they've countered our advantages by going analog, Dr. Wang explained, excitement evident in his voice. But they've actually given us an even greater opportunity. Their simplified systems are more susceptible to the fundamental physical manipulations we've mastered. And without their quantum systems, they can't detect our more subtle alterations. Chen nodded, watching as the new defensive systems came online. They expect us to escalate, to build bigger weapons, stronger defenses. Instead, we're changing the nature of the conflict itself. Initiate Project Mirror. Throughout the solar system, thousands of small, seemingly primitive satellites activated. They appeared to be simple metal spheres, the kind of basic technology the Drachnids would expect from a primitive species. But their true nature was far more sophisticated. Each satellite, Martinez explained, is actually a quantum mirror, a device that doesn't just reflect energy, but redistributes it across probability space. When their weapons fire, the energy won't be blocked or absorbed. It will be reimagined. The Council watched in fascination as simulations showed the effects. Energy weapons striking the quantum mirrors would have their power redirected not through space, but through possibility. A beam meant to destroy could instead become a burst of productive energy, strengthening the very defenses it was meant to overcome. But the truly elegant part, Chen added, is that we're not using their technology to do this. We've taken their basic principles and evolved them into something they never imagined possible. While they were learning to build better weapons, we were learning to transform the very nature of conflict. The holographic display showed the approaching Imperial fleet, now less than a week from Earth. Their ships were indeed simpler, more primitive in many ways than their predecessors. But that very simplicity had made them vulnerable to humanity's most powerful weapon, the ability to see possibilities that others couldn't imagine. They think they're coming to end this war, Chen said softly, but they're actually coming to their first real lesson about humanity. We don't just adapt to new situations, we transform them. And we're about to show them just how creative humans can be when challenged. The quantum mirrors continued their silent deployment, each one a testament to humanity's unique approach to problem solving. They weren't weapons in any conventional sense. They were something far more powerful, tools for turning an enemy's strength into a catalyst for peace. Victory through innovation. The massive Imperial fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, their simplified analog ships arranged in a formation designed to counter every human tactic they had encountered. Supreme Admiral Ixel, the Empire's most decorated military commander, stood on his flagship's bridge, watching the approaching human world with all four of his eyes. No tricks this time, he growled to his command staff. No quantum computers for them to corrupt, no AI systems for them to confuse, no advanced technology for them to turn against us. Simple, proven weapons, and overwhelming numbers. The fleet of 10,000 ships began their advance, their sensors detecting exactly what they expected: a sparse network of primitive-looking satellites and orbital platforms. But Ixal wasn't fooled by appearances anymore. He knew the humans were masters of deception. In her command center beneath the Pacific, Admiral Chen watched the approaching armada with calm focus. "They've committed their entire remaining fleet," she noted to the assembled Earth Defense Council. "Time to show them why that was a mistake. Initiate the Harmony Protocol." Throughout the solar system, the quantum mirrors that had been dismissed as simple satellites began to resonate. But they weren't preparing to attack or defend. They were beginning to sing. "What are they doing?" Ixal demanded as his sensors detected strange vibrations propagating through space. "Some new weapon." "Sir," his science officer reported, confusion evident in his voice. "The vibrations, they're creating patterns. Mathematical patterns that makes sense. It's like they're speaking in pure physics." The quantum mirrors weren't just transmitting energy. They were communicating in the fundamental language of reality itself. Each vibration carried encoded within it not just information, but understanding. The very fabric of space-time became a medium for sharing knowledge. "This is humanity's true gift," Chen explained to the Council as they watched the Drachnid fleet's reactions. "Not our weapons or our defenses, but our ability to find new ways to connect, to communicate, to share understanding." The patterns emanating from the quantum mirrors began to interact with the Drachnid ships in unexpected ways. There was no attack, no attempt at destruction or dominance. Instead, the patterns began to reveal possibilities, showing through pure mathematics and physics how things could be different. "Their simplified systems," Dr. Wang observed with satisfaction, "are actually making this easier. Without layers of complex technology in the way, the patterns can reach directly to the fundamental principles their ships operate on. We're not fighting their technology. We're teaching it a new way to exist." Throughout the Imperial fleet, ships began to transform, not through external force, but through the revelation of new possibilities inherent in their own design. Systems that had been built for destruction discovered they could function differently. Weapons found new configurations that turned them into tools for exploration and understanding. "Impossible," Ixal whispered as he watched his mighty warships metamorphose into something new. "What kind of weapon is this?" Admiral Chen's hologram appeared on his bridge, but not as a conqueror or enemy. She appeared as a teacher, a guide to new possibilities. "This isn't a weapon, Supreme Admiral," she explained gently. "This is an invitation. Your ships aren't being destroyed. They're being awakened to their own potential. Just as humanity learned to see beyond conventional limitations, we're showing your technology that it can transcend its original purpose." The transformation spread through the Imperial fleet like a revelation. Ships that had been designed for war discovered configurations that allowed them to explore dimensions of reality their builders had never imagined. Weapons became tools for understanding. Shields became bridges between possibilities. "You came expecting to find either victory or defeat," Chen continued. "We're offering something else entirely. The chance to grow beyond the very concept of military conflict. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to fight. It's our ability to imagine and create new possibilities." The quantum mirrors continued their work, their patterns teaching the fundamental forces of reality themselves new ways to interact. The space around Earth became not a battlefield, but a classroom where the very laws of physics were learning to evolve. "Your empire built its power on taking and controlling technology," Chen said to Ixal. "We built our civilization on understanding and reimagining what's possible. We don't want to defeat you. We want to show you how much more is possible when you stop trying to dominate reality and start trying to understand it." Ixal stood in awe as his fleet completed its transformation. Where there had been weapons, there were now tools for exploration. Where there had been barriers, there were now bridges. The ships were still powerful, still capable of incredible feats, but their power had been transformed into something greater than mere military might. "This is humanity's true victory," Chen concluded. not destroying an enemy, but transforming conflict into cooperation, not defeating your technology, but helping it evolve. The question now, Supreme Admiral, is whether you're ready to learn what humanity has to teach about the true nature of advancement. As the last echoes of the quantum patterns rippled through space, the solar system fell quiet. But it wasn't the silence of defeat. It was the hushed anticipation of new possibilities about to unfold. Humanity had done more than win a war. They had changed the very nature of interaction between civilizations. The Empire had come seeking to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they had found teachers who showed them that true power lies not in domination, but in the ability to imagine and create new possibilities. It was the dawn of a new era, not just for humanity and the drachnids, but for all species who were ready to learn that the greatest adventures begin when you stop trying to prove your superiority and start exploring what's possible when you think differently.